Hi, students, and welcome to our course, Search and the Information Landscape. I want to welcome you this week and give you some background information, a tour around the landscape of our course, and a little introduction to what we'll be learning about together over the next 15 weeks. So, my name is Joyce Valenza. I've been searching and an information professional for 40 years in school and public and special libraries. You can read more about me in the welcome letter I sent or aboutme.com. You can follow my tweets at Joyce Valenza, or you can read my blog at The Neverending Search. This week, what we're going to do is have an overview of our course, looking at the learning objectives, the readings, the assessments, and the landscape itself. We'll look a little bit backwards on the history of search, where we've come from and where we are right now. We'll discuss the shifting role of the information professional, and I'll encourage you to sign up for the ProQuest Graduate Education Project. The essential questions for this week are: what is the role, or what was the role of the information professionals in search, and what is the role of the information professional today and moving forward? And by the way, these particular essential questions will be in the back of your minds, I hope, as we move through the entire course. So keep them in mind. The official catalog description is that this course explores professional, user-centered strategies for seeking, finding, retrieving, managing, evaluating, and sharing information across an array of traditional and emerging digital platforms, as well as the evolving role of the information professional. I'm not going to read the entire course description, which goes on, but you'll get a sense of what it looks like by reading your syllabus. As far as the objectives, what I hope will happen is that you'll develop skills, knowledge, and dispositions that can be applied to research and user-centered information services across the sectors of the library and information professions. You'll be able to talk about search in an informed manner using the terminology and concepts from our professional and our popular and our scholarly literature. You'll demonstrate expertise in the use of search features, structures, and syntax used by the major databases. You'll engage and communicate effectively with users, clients, and students to determine and meet their information needs, whether you're face-to-face with them or in digital settings. You'll be able to describe and respond to key concepts in judging search effectiveness and also in evaluating the credibility, validity, and usefulness of the content that you find. You'll be differentiating among and assessing the value of emerging genre of search engines and portals and social media curation platforms in the process of developing a rich and diverse professional and modern search toolkit. You'll create and curate guidance and instruction in a variety of forms, including web-based search guides and current awareness strategies for targeted clients, organizations, and groups of users. You'll demonstrate tactics for keeping up in the world of search, for finding data, resources, strategies in our shifting search environment, and you'll demonstrate the evolving role and the services of an information professional, his or her value, in an information abundant, do-it-yourself search ecosystem. Our course is organized in three major sections, although they're informally bordered. Over the first five, and I've pretty much packed them, early weeks of the course, we'll examine and review subscription databases. I want to make sure that you all have solid grounding in searching these traditional library resources, that you are armed with a professional vocabulary, and you have updated strategies in case you haven't looked at these wonderful library tools recently. I am aware that everybody's coming from a different place. For some of you, this will be a little bit new. For others, it will be a review or a refresh. I'm hoping that if it is a review or refresh, that you will take the opportunities I provide for choice to investigate things you haven't seen before. Following our database review or explorations, we'll explore the role of three free web-based tools in the search ecology. We'll use search engines, social media, traditional and emerging portals, new curation tools, and we'll look at mobile search. And in the final few weeks, I want you engaged in discussing and examining issues and trends. We'll look at how to effectively teach or coach search in a social media landscape. We'll look at social scholarship, new assessments of authority, emerging strategies for thinking about intellectual property, and frictions around such issues as open access, privacy, and intellectual freedom. I hope that you engage in lively debates throughout our course. So what should you expect from 5:30? I'm not expecting that you're going to turn into professional searchers at the end of 15 weeks. We're going to be growing your competencies. You will have experiences with a variety of sophisticated search skills and tools, and you'll be developing strategies. You will prepare to grow in an evolving field and contribute to our profession and its future. What this course is not about, I am trying hard not to overlap with some of the other courses that you've taken. And so this is not going to be a reference course. It's not about the specific content sources that you might find in a reference course. Rather, it's about search across the library and a larger information landscape, more about process than stuff. This course is also not about creating indexes, metadata, or information retrieval, but we might touch on some of these. So we're not going to cover the learning explored in organizing information, which is really about options and methods for creating and comparing indexes. We're not going to be the metadata course, which is 524, and we're not going to examine issues and problems relating to the creation and application of metadata and metadata schemes and encoding standards and container architecture. And we are also not about information retrieval, although we might touch on some of the theory, design, and use of information retrieval systems. We're not going to be really looking at design principles for IR and their implementations and operations and evaluations. So we are also not really about information literacy, but information literacy is such a strong part of who we are as information professionals, and I have a hard time separating it from our course. And so I want us to be conscious of ACRL's framework for information literacy for higher education, which has implications for all information professionals. Theoretically, the 6 frames that it's based upon, actually really form a nice grounding for our discussions of search. Authority is constructed and contextual. There is no black and white decision making necessarily anymore about what a good document or retrieval looks like. It all has to do with the information context. And just for an example, a primary source blog, when somebody's in the middle of a crisis, can be more authoritative than waiting for that peer-reviewed journal about that event 2 years later. So think about authority as being contextual and connected to the user's need. Information creation is now a process. It is produced to convey a message and shared via a variety of selected delivery methods. It involves the iterative process of researching, creating, revising, disseminating, and the resulting product reflects the process. Information has value. It is a commodity. It's a means to influence, and legal and socioeconomic interests influence information production and dissemination. And I want you to keep that in mind as you search in pretty much any landscape. Research is not transactional. You will find yourself with some quick questions from time to time. We'll talk about typecasting the user's questions, but I think of research as inquiry. It's iterative, and it depends upon asking increasingly complex and new questions, and those answers will in turn develop into additional questions or lines of inquiry across any discipline. Scholarship is conversation increasingly in a social information landscape. What we're seeing is communities of scholars, researchers, and professionals engaging in discourse with new insights and discoveries. And we're seeing varied perspectives and interpretations. And I hope that you see in our class, as well as in your online communities of practice, that all of this is social, all of this is dialogue, and we grow as much from our conversations as we do from our searches. And our searches are sometimes conversations. Searching is also a strategic exploration. It is nonlinear, and as we said before, it's iterative, requiring the evaluation of a range of information sources and the mental flexibility to pursue alternate avenues as understanding develops. I find that one of the most exciting aspects of the world of search. Abraham Maslow famously said, if you only have a hammer, you tend to see every problem as a nail. I want you to think about Maslow's words as we go through our time together and beyond. So we are about thinking about your toolkit. We're looking at the landscape, seeing the bigger picture, looking around with peripheral vision as birds do. So we'll look at databases, social media, web portals, search engines, and media, and mobile, of course. And then you're going to be building your toolkit, which is not just about stuff. Your toolkit is as much about your skills, your dispositions, your creativity, your resilience, your willingness to keep up, your ability to leverage current awareness, and your professionalism as it is about the stuff that we're going to be learning. So as I said, this is not going to make you a search expert. It is the beginning of your journey as a professional on an ever-shifting landscape. So you'll develop tools you'll hone in specific contexts later on in your practice with children in law, business, health situations, etc. So I can't tell you how to be a law librarian or how to be a corporate librarian. I can give you the building blocks that you need. And if you know that's the direction you're going to take, I'm hoping you'll make some choices during our time together to maximize the value of our assignments and our assessments and our conversations. My hope is that you will make the assignments work for you, kind of in the words of Tim Gunn. Make it work. Joy Ito, I think it may be Joey Ito, said, education is what people do to you. Learning is something you do for yourself. I firmly believe that. And so one of my information professional crushes is Howard Rheingold, and he talks a lot about co-learning. He's experimented a lot with different online learning environments. And read this if you can. I want you to start out as lurkers if you need to, but I really want everybody to participate through our discussion boards, our various discussion platforms, by commenting on each other's posts, by building conversations in our forum, by sharing in a variety of different ways, which I'll describe very soon. I believe that learning is connected. I believe that it's product-centered. You'll be sharing the work that you do. I believe that you should have authentic purpose, that learning should be connected to your interests, that it is engaged with peer culture, that you'll be developing a community of practice, that you share what you work on in openly networked environments, and that you connect your learning with others who are in your fields. Active, relevant, real-world, effective, hands-on, networked, innovative, personal, and transformative. I want our learning to be equitable, social, and participatory. And we're going to be learning across a variety of platforms because search happens across a variety of platforms and because professionals live, play, and work across a variety of platforms. So the elephant that we call search is big. And if you think about the parable of the blind man and the elephant, you know that each of us is only touching a small piece of the elephant. And for that reason, I've had to make some accommodations in our course. I see a part of the elephant, not the whole elephant, but some of my friends see a greater, or the greater part of the whole. I understand that it's going to look different, this elephant, depending upon where you land. And I suspect that in this class, we've got folks who are going to be in archives, in IT, in law, in competitive intelligence, in school libraries, public libraries, archives, academic libraries, and some of you might move on to be information entrepreneurs. And so let's take a look at your assessments and let's see how all of these things will fit together to get you a larger look at that elephant that we call search. So you're going to have 2 large assignments. You'll have a series of small search activities embedded throughout the week. We'll have our Voices of Search videos. You'll be developing a personal learning network or connecting with an online community of practice. You will have the opportunity to post weekly search news, and I will have weekly playlists that I will continually update as more news is discovered. You'll be sharing your work in a gallery for the rest of us to explore, learn from, and comment on. If you choose wisely, you'll learn in an area of knowledge that will allow you to either stretch or will make sense for the context that you plan, that you work in currently or aspire to work in. I really, truly hope that your work you do here has value beyond our course itself. It's possible also, if you plan this well, that the work you do for assignment 1 and the search activities and your weekly search news and your PLN building will feed into assignment 2 and your larger life as a professional. So do a little planning and thinking as you decide what search examples you want to use, what comparisons you want to make, what products you want to make for assignment 1. Assignment 1 is a web-based tutorial or digital cheat sheet for a subscription database in the form of, you pick, an infographic, a digital story, a website. You're going to want to identify a search audience and clearly demonstrate the scope, structure, search features, strategies, and limitations of the tool you choose. And as I said, this product might feed Assignment 3. Assignment 2, because I realize you will land in different places, is a choice. You can choose option 1, which is a web-based guide for a search for a client or demographic group. I'm happy to give you a free subscription to the LibGuide Sandbox for this project. This guide must focus on a narrow search need. I've given examples in the description and incorporate the search techniques and concepts and all that other stuff that you're learning throughout our semester. I realize that some of you are going to land in a corporate or legal environment and your clients' needs do not involve continuing a relationship or sustained guidance and learning. And for those of you, I want you to have the option of doing a traditional deliverable, a client research report. Throughout our course, you're going to have search activities. These are small range projects that reinforce the learning of the week and allow you to make some choices about in what context you'd like to do your explorations, your searches, your comparisons. So I hope that you make sense of these, and some of these may also feed into assignment 3. 10% of your grade will be related to your participation in our discussions in Canvas, and we're looking for meaningful participation in those threaded discussions with reflections on your readings and search activities. I'll be assessing this activity quarterly at the ends of weeks 4, 8, 12, and 15, and you're welcome to check out our discussion rubric. And another 10% of your grade will involve your participation in some assorted activities, and those include the groups for weekly search news, your involvement in the brief presentations that will be database of the week. We'll have just 1 or 2 collaborative activities as we build Google Slide decks. And you'll have a mid-semester and a final reflection to assess the learning and create a schema of what the search landscape looks like, the information landscape looks like. I find that learning is stickier when people reflect on it, and so I'll be asking you to do these reflections. As for that weekly search news, it's important as an information professional. The skills that you learn in library school are not going to necessarily serve you for the rest of your life. So, what I want to make sure is that you understand how you keep up as a professional. And there's a LibGuide that will share news feeds, the major bloggers in our profession. Please contribute to that. Let me know if there's stuff I've missed. There's definitely stuff I've missed. And I'll add it to the LibGuide. As I said, we're going to be discussing what you post. And if you click on the link on this slide, you'll see the instructions for your weekly search news activity. As I mentioned earlier, I am in the process of building an anthology that I'm calling Voices of Search. I don't know everything about the world of search, and I'm going to count on my friends from the worlds of health and law and business and Google and entrepreneurship to fill in the stuff that I find myself deficient in. So please, not each week, but many weeks, we'll have a Voice of Search. And these are prominent folks whose voices are worthy of your attention. So listen to them, and we'll comment on those in our discussions as well. And so this is the end of our introduction. I hope you'll join me in the next section of this when we look at search history.